Welcome and thank you for joining us. Each week we have so many amazing testimonials, and I know tonight is going to be no exception. And just to introduce you to our audience, it's interesting that you started your career journey as a mechanical engineer, getting your designation from the University of Toronto back in the day, I'll say. But in the year 2000, Immunotech caught your interest. And I want you to share some of your story with us tonight about where your life has evolved since you've joined Immunotech. And the first thing that I'd like to talk about, Doug, is it was interesting to know this about you, that you were kind of a fan of nutrition when you were younger. How did that happen? I don't know of many people like that, except for Juliet, and Juliet's on the call tonight. Your exceptions. Tell us more about that.
Well, I was very active as a child and played a lot of hockey and I just found the better I ate, the better I performed and less injuries. So prior to getting and playing sports, I started playing hockey when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and I would carry my hockey equipment to the hockey arenas. But I just really appreciated the fact that what I ate really helped my body. And I found for myself that it was eating eggs before. And
Mhm.
it just, my sister was started getting into health, and she picked up a book by Adele Davis, Eat Right to Keep Fit. And I read that book. That book was published in the 1950s. And
Mm.
it was just a great resource for giving me the knowledge of what the food what the foods contained and the benefits that they could impart on the body. So at a very young age, I started making my own yogurt. I started adding wheat germ. I'd add maple syrup, blackstrap molasses. I started supplementing with cod liver oil, and then found a better supplement, halibut liver oil. So I was always
Wow.
pursuing nutrition and nutrients based on all natural sources. So I'm very much a purist when it comes to my diet. I virtually purchase for myself zero processed food. Um, if it has one more than one or two ingredients, it just doesn't hit my shopping cart. Except for
Good.
beer. I think that has three, right? Hops, barley, and water and yeast.
Very good. It's a
Mhm.
natural question to ask you. How would you go from that type of interest at a young age to mechanical engineering? How did that choice come to be?
Well, I had a very strong interest in science, had a very strong interest in physics. I
Mm.
did very well with chemistry, was always proficient in mathematics. My two interests were architecture and engineering. And architecture I really enjoyed, but that was really, really time consuming. You cannot uh, do like an exam crunch time and do whip out or whip off a drawing, an architectural drawing in a short period of time. I would spend hours, um, drawing and drafting in that. So engineering offered me the opportunity to practice architecture to a certain level, and then also get involved in the construction and design of buildings. And so I thought it was the best of both worlds. Um, and, a little bit in engineering, I studied biomechanical engineering. So I looked at the studies in the strength of the bones, the way the kidneys worked and the liver, the way those functioned, the heart. So it was just a natural transition. You go from biomechanical engineering right into immunotech.
Yeah, so how did Immunotech run into you? Or how did you run into it?
Well, a good friend of mine at the time, he presented me with Immunotech and Immunical, and a friend of mine was really really sick at the time. Like, she was, her name's Angela Koch, and she was suffering from fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel, and she was in bed 3 to 4 days out of every week. And I was on a mission to find a solution, and things I was looking at, radiant heat, possibly moving to Arizona, a drier, warmer climate. Um, all of these things really piqued my interest when Foster introduced a protein that he started showing me all these studies, and I thought, well, you know what, I'll try it. And I started as a customer. I believe it was February of 2000. And after a short period of time, I noticed good energy. I was sleeping better. But at that point, I didn't notice any what the major benefit for my health was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That took a little bit of time, but I became a consultant. I believe it was like June the 29th of 20 of the year 2000. And I chose that date. I mean, Foster said, well, we can wait till July 1st. I said, no, there is no tomorrow. The importance of action and taking action is to do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that one phrase just hit me is, when you take action, the same thing with my health. Somebody presents me with a product or something that will be of benefit. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
wait on it. I'll research it, find out, and then take action immediately. And I
So
think that's
knowing what you knew about nutrition, what stood out for you about Immunical?
the biggest thing was for me is my credibility and my integrity as an engineer. I wanted to, if I was going to promote or look at a product, I wanted to make sure that it had the science, it had
Mm-hmm.
um, the company had the integrity, because I didn't want to be made to look, you know, I mean, it's difficult enough with network marketing with the stigma that may be attached to it. But I think that's changing. There's a lot of professional network marketers out there. They're teaching people that this is a serious business, that if you apply the serious strategies and take the time to treat it
Mm-hmm.
seriously, the world can open up for you. There's no limits. And I
Mm-hmm.
was mentored by some very good network marketers, including John Solider. I don't see him on the call tonight, but then there's people like Keith Hooper as well. The
Yeah,
commitment that these
Keith is
people
here.
have shown
Mm-hmm.
is inspiring. And there's the business inspiration, but even the additional benefit of Immunotech research is the stories, the stories, the personal stories that people get, and it changes you. You realize that it's more than just marketing a product, and it's more than just earning a paycheck. This is changing people's lives. And for
Well, it
me,
changed your life too, didn't it?
oh,
You had a health
absolutely.
challenge that it addressed. Tell us more
I,
about that.
well, later on that year, it was around September, October, a friend of mine had asked me, Doug, how's your ragweed allergies this year? And I hadn't given a second thought. And then I thought, oh my goodness, there's nothing. Completely clear for the first time in about 20 years. So anybody that's been a serious allergy sufferer knows the pain of sinus headaches, sinus discomfort. Um, just everything is just your eyes. You can barely see. You attempt to get up in the morning, and your eyes are crusted over. That was all gone, and it has never come back. So for
Wow.
me, and that, obviously you wonder, like, what impact is that having? And then you go into the immune system and the two different, responses, and you realize it's immune deficiency and an immune inaccuracy. So Immunical, which is short for immune system calibration,
Mhm.
corrected my immune system and eliminated all of my airborne allergies. So that was exciting.
Wow. So you so you get introduced to the product, you are smitten by the science, you use the product, you get a result, and now the ball starts to roll. So from what I understand, you enrolled 60 people and 43 of those people engaged and became partners, teammates. Is that
Well,
accurate?
yeah, it's fairly accurate. I wrote a list of 60, my initial list of 60, And eventually over time, 43 of those participated in Immunotech in some way, either as a customer or as a consultant.
So
So
how did you connect with all those people? How did you get
well,
that going?
I just listening to people like Al Schreider, the or Big Al, just saying everybody that you meet and everybody that you can come in contact with, any new customer that you sign up, who else do you know that may benefit from Immunical? So learn to engage in conversation and, don't be too shy. And the thing is, there's certain strategies or certain things that you can use that don't look too wordy or don't look like they're all made up. But if you have a genuine interest in people, it doesn't matter what you say. People
Hmm.
will resonate with that and either join or, make another decision. But think about it as just asking for, if somebody wants a cup of coffee. We don't have any problems with that. So it's the
Hmm.
same thing with your business or the same thing with Immunical. You know, you know how people are always looking for better health or looking at
Yeah.
creative ways of creating a second income. They
Hmm.
may say, "Oh, yes, I know." I said, "Well, I'll show you something that I'm doing that's really transforming a lot of people's lives, both health-wise and financial. Would you be open
You
to come out to a Zoom call tonight or tomorrow or whatever?" Yeah.
Doug, one thing I have to say is that your story is a lot similar to a lot of the people we've had on the call. Here's what's amazing. You're now in your 23rd year with this company. Why hasn't the passion died?
Mm. Do you know, it just keeps getting revived. Another story. Maurizio, when he took over the reins of Immunotech in 2017, I was cautious, but then I saw the consistency. I saw the caliber and the quality of the people that he was bringing in to help us. And I'm blessed. I was able to spend some time on Zoom with George and have, a few of my consultants meet him.
Mhm.
And I just see the commitment now with Immunotech to be back to where it was when I joined in 2000, and maybe even
Mm.
stronger because we've got a young, very motivated and inspiring team to help guide us, which is another huge benefit. Judy, is if you
Mhm.
think about, I've been in, I had my own business a few times. Like I ran a power business, importing power supplies and UPS systems, and I was in a power company, and we had 4 employees, and I had to do, everything. I had to help with the accounting, and sometimes I had to, help with stocking and inventory, and I was, hiring people, firing people.
Mhm.
Immunitech takes care of 95% of all of that administration. All I have to do is talk to people. And as fast as I could send in orders, Immunitech can process them. And
Yeah,
there's
and
no
that
time you
talking,
can you can try to stump them, but they'd love
yeah,
that.
well, and as you say that, the talking that you're bringing up has produced numerous testimonials in your life. And one of the things that really caught my attention with you is when you said, it's the stories that keep me going. Can you tell us or share with the audience any one of those stories that stands out?
Well, there was a point when I was really active with going to markets, had a table set up at an organic market, the Toronto Waldorf School, and they also had like an organic market there every Saturday. Had a table and had so many customers join, and the stories, people coming up and just approaching Angela and I at the time and just saying, I don't want to go for chemo. I don't want to go for radiation. Is there something safe and natural? I said, well, I can't go against your doctor. This is just food. It's just nourishment for the body. I said, just, try it out. Just see how it goes. Ease into it. Well, this person was given a very short lifespan. They had problems. They had liver cancer, and she, within a month, they'd canceled surgeries and things like that. So, I don't want to get into too specifics, but
Hmm.
this is just the stories that come on, and, calming people's symptoms of Parkinson's, calming symptoms of MS, and changing people, giving people the energy, increasing their quality of life. Now, there has been cases where
Hmm.
they stop taking it, and then some of the symptoms come back. They get back on, they stop, they take it. So there are people that play around that way. And I said, don't play around with your health. If you see a benefit, just keep taking
Hmm. Yeah, and just help us out with that, what you just said. People stop taking it. Just, they don't understand it's their immune system that keeps them alive. So
it.
they're taking away the very stuff that's bolstering their immune system. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but have you ever found that people just don't make that connection?
Some don't, and unfortunately, many don't. For me, I want to keep my army out there in the fields ready. I don't want to say pull all the troops in and say, okay, I'm good now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to health, and the body is very complex. And a lot of what we're told, a lot of what's out there is untrue. Lies upon lies upon lies. And the thing is, as a child, I never fell into the low fat or the fat trap. I never fell into a coral calcium trap. All of these fads, I was never fooled because I dig deep and I research deep. I researched, half an hour, 45 minutes every day.
Well,
I
we've
stay on
had some,
top of things.
and you're so right about that, like staying on top of things, paying attention to your own health, looking for information, seeking out the truth. And,
Yeah.
we've been through some terribly turbulent times in health in this past few years, and it doesn't sound like it's going away anytime soon. So, what recommendations can you give the audience? How do we get this message about our company and our product out to the world?
Okay, first thing, turn off the television.
Mm-hmm.
As Wally Kralik uh, taught me, is he calls it an income reducing box or something like that, or just the most important thing is to be consistent and persistent and patient, and also don't attempt to complicate things. So when you're approaching this, try to approach it as if you know nothing about the product or the company, and make it as simple as possible. Don't use jargon. Don't use, make it really easy for people, and don't give them too many choices. You
Mm-hmm.
give people two choices, that's okay. You give them three, they're confused. You give a doctor three choices on how to do an operation, a knee operation, they'll botch it every time.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
mind likes simplicity. And so staying focused is I find when I'm really on my game, I am focused like a laser beam. No distractions. Everything's closed off. Phone's gone. As you can tell, Judy, if you want to get a hold of me, if I'm focused on something, nobody can get a hold of me. I'm
Right.
unreachable.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Earlier too, you brought up a really good point about the stigma that network marketing some has in some people's lives, right? And it's interesting that I always look at Immunotech as an anomaly. That's just my feeling, and I'll just give you a little reason why I say that is because when I came into Immunotech, I was one of those people. I didn't want people to know that it was a network marketing company. I was one of those people. Truly not that now, that. But, and people are afraid of their reputations. People want to protect their reputations all the time. What can you say about that as in regards to Immunotech? If they join our company, should they be worried about their reputation?
Well, Judy, that's one of the reasons why it was easier for me to transition with Immunotech as a network marketing company. I could see the valid science. I could go through the studies. I knew that this was beyond my own insecurities, that this is too important. This has to be shared. So I had the benefit of meeting and spending, a fair amount of time with Dr. Bunos over a lot of the conferences and a lot of the meetings. I saw his passion, and I also saw what he wanted. And he wanted to make sure that this product is available. So who am I to, to feel uncomfortable about sharing one of the most important discoveries ever? And it's the fact that this got out is a miracle on itself. The serendipity, the actions that took place. It's a story that is absolutely incredible and very inspiring. A lot of my very top consultants, had copies of Breakthrough in Cell Defense, and that was their Bible. We have the benefit of Dr. Gutman's. I have a lot of his books I bought when he was in Toronto. I picked up 4 copies, but this is the one here that is, one of the Bibles that is really important. But yeah, and I just say, just get started. There is no tomorrow.
Yeah,
So I'll finish off with
there's
that.
someone on the call tonight that's got their big toe in the water, ready to jump in. So what words of encouragement will you give them?
Do it tonight. Get started ASAP. Get back to the person that, sharing their story or sharing the product and opportunity. Make a decision what's best for you, whether to help our team here and share the product, or just enjoy the product as a customer. And in a very short period of time, you'll start to reap the benefits of what this product has. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Doug. And I always say these calls are never long enough, because there's a lot more to say and there's a lot more to share, but you've really given us some good points tonight, some encouragement and some wisdom, and some great background on your story and how you got to where you are today. So thank you so very much for coming on this call, and we hope to see you again.
Yes, you'll see me again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.